Drawing characters from certain angles is a skill I have always found very challenging to master. The more exaggerated that angle, the more fiddly it can be to make the face look right, the positioning of the eyes and nose, drawing the underchin area. It's not easy, and I don't think I'll ever find it easy. When I saw the Frieren looking up challenge everywhere, I felt this would be a good opportunity to practice my character designs, which I've been neglecting since I get a little intimidated by the complexities that go into drawing faces. I started off with some simpler angles, front-facing, side profile, etc., taking reference from the TV series, which is actually really useful in studying the face shapes of different characters and seeing how they are then drawn from different angles. While I was creating these studies, I began admiring the design of Frieren. It's a really great, recognisable character design, and a minimal colour palette used effectively. I especially love how her eyes are drawn. They look so colourful from a distance, but then when you look up close, it's just a dark blue with a little bit of light green and a fleck of yellow. Drawing hair strands will never be straightforward to me. I tend to either overdo it or underdo it with the details, and how I place it when it interacts with the body. So for example, when it drapes over the shoulders slightly. The studies helped me a little, so it's something I'm hoping to work on more in future. Not a bad start, and I was pretty happy with my line work for this practice page, so I decided to move on to attempting a more upward facing angle this time. The eyes were the most difficult part. I really wanted to work on getting the angle of them right, especially when the character is looking off slightly to the side, so the shape of the eye needs to change to show that angle, and being slightly obscured by the nose. Even with a simple character design with minimal detail, it can be a difficult task to get everything to look right. I was pretty happy with this practice run, so once I finished, I moved on to what I consider slightly more challenging, which is drawing the face straight on looking up, as all the facial features need to be placed in a way to create the illusion that the character is looking up, which normally tends to squish the features together, with lots of empty area around the chin and then less as it travels up the head. I sort of managed it, but this is where I began to contemplate on the challenges of character consistency. Drawing characters from extreme angles means it can be harder to make it look like the same person. I don't have a solid solution to this. The common practice would be to break the face down into really simple shapes, and then think about how those shapes would be drawn from different perspectives. This is a fiddly technique to master. I use it and still sometimes end up with the characters looking stiff or slightly off. Maybe I'll get it in future with enough practice, but I finally moved on to creating a finalised art piece. I didn't go for a too ambitious angle, but it still required some figuring out and deliberation to get everything to look fairly accurate. I haven't actually watched Frieren yet, but I've seen some scenes from the show which I just felt were spectacular, particularly when Frieren is floating in the night sky, her long hair flowing in the wind. This felt like an easy decision for the composition of the artwork, and I planned to add the shooting meteors in the background to add more energy to the piece. It went more smoothly than I was expecting, particularly the hair, which is surprising. It's not perfect, I still need to get better at drawing hair twists, but looking at it as a whole with the rest of the artwork, it looks pretty good to me. Then there's the focus of this whole challenge, the face. I think it looks alright. I don't know if it's just me, but there's a few tweaks I would potentially make, I think, to the eyes and eyebrows. Perhaps play around with the shapes a bit more. I think the angles and placement look okay, it's more about trying to create an overall look I'm satisfied with. I'm pretty happy with how I drew the underchin area. That little bit of shading adds a good feeling of depth to the face. And altogether the colours and shading look good to me. I wanted it to be quite soft and warm to contrast with the night sky. I hope in future I'll challenge myself to drawing more dynamic and dramatic poses from really extreme perspectives. It was really fun and wholesome to see this challenge and all the artwork created from it. There's been a lot of great advice and tips on how to make face angles easier to draw, and I hope to see more of it in future. Let me know what you think, and if you have any tips you've found that have helped you out with your character designs.